How's it going, everyone? Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr., and welcome to another classic movie review. This is my review of Dog Day Afternoon, a movie that came out in 1975. Just happens to be one of my favorite bank heist movies. Big fan of movies of this type, especially this genre, the crime genre. But what makes this film so special is, well, besides it having Al Pacino as the lead and having one of the great Al Pacino performances of all time, uh, the movie really does feel like you're watching something special in terms of depicting something so authentic and real, like it's happening right before your very eyes. As the film begins and you start to see this bank heist begin, you feel like you're a part of it all throughout the movie. And the movie is shot to give you that sensation. And having had happened about 3 years prior to release, I'm sure that the story was very fresh in everyone's minds when this movie came out. It must have been uh, something for people to talk about back in the day because, this was something that when it happened in 72, when the actual event happened, something that was on the news across the country. So when news of the movie came out, I'm sure there were a lot of people that were curious to check it out, especially since Pacino was portraying this real life bank robber. And as far as his motivations go, I'm not going to give anything away for those that haven't seen the movie. But for those of you that do enjoy a good bank heist movie, this is a movie that, for the most part, takes place in the bank and does have some scenes outside now and then. But yeah, you feel like you're there. You feel like you're going through this experience. And this movie has some very impressive, besides the great acting, some very impressive, fast-paced editing, and uh, does some things editing-wise that I think are 20 years ahead of its time. To be honest, especially in a lot of the scenes where a lot of the more tense scenes when there's a sort of standoffs between the cops outside and our two bank robbers. The beginning of the movie, it's three guys, and then one guy chickens out, and then so we're left with our two main bank robbers, Sonny and Sal. Um, Sal is played by John Cazale. John Cazale was Fredo in Godfather and Godfather 2. And Pacino and Cazale really do have, uh, it seems like a kind of a natural shorthand. You can see it sort of carries over into this film. And they really do feel like a couple of real buddies. In the movie, they're portraying a couple of real life people that were actually Vietnam veterans. So the movie pretty much depicts all that, and for the most part stays true to the actual events as they occurred. So as far as like documentary or docudrama style movies goes, it's very well made and very respectful to the actual events in that way, and I think a lot of people appreciate that. And the movie really does come off um, feeling very, very real. One of the things I love about 70s movies, especially the dramas that came out, the more um, sort of street type movies, a lot of them felt very, very real because a lot of these movies were shot on location. Not that many sort of backlots. When you're watching a movie that's shot in New York, you can tell. And this movie really does have, as far as the city of New York goes, the city does feel like it's a part of the movie and a character in the movie, and it does have that New York vibe. It really does come through, and it being a '70s movie, it feels like a time capsule, and I think captures this crazy moment in history where these two nuts, walked into this bank and probably thought they were going to just be in and out because um, the Sonny character used to work at a bank, so he pretty much thought he had the whole thing clocked and figured out. But yeah, to their surprise, they showed up and um, the money truck already picked it up. So they show up and there's only like $1,100, and But I really love once things start to go wrong in the movie how it just gets kind of worse and worse. But they just keep trying to ride it out and hope that it gets better. And they're just waiting on that. Their big demand is they need a car to take them to the airport so they can get on a jet and fly away. So you watch this movie seeing how it's going to turn out. Because it's Pacino, you're kind of hoping that it be okay. Maybe he'll get away. But then you remember, the movie reminds you, no, this is something that really happened. So you remember pretty quickly that this is more than your average movie. This is telling you the story of something that happened. So things don't happen or don't pan out quite how you would expect. And some of my favorite heist movies have that kind of quality. So the fact that this really happened adds a lot more to that. And I really can't argue with the ending. I mean, as much as uh, you know, I well, okay, I cannot. Don't want to spoil it for those. Don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't seen it, of course. But like a lot of movies that you'd probably want to write a different ending. You can't argue with it because this is what happened. It's real events. And there's a nice appearance here by a young Chris Sarandon in a small part. Horror movie fans will recognize him from Fright Night and Child's Play, the '80s films. And uh, yeah, he has an interesting part in this movie. So yeah, and of course, Pacino is always great. Great '70s movie, great heist movie. I encourage people to check this one out. I remember seeing this one on HBO Max, definitely, and it definitely has, like I said, you feel like you're watching, something real at times because it's just so good in terms of its execution, in terms of its directing, editing, of course, cinematography. This movie really does feel ahead of its time on a technical standpoint. Every time I watch it, actually, I just get really invested uh, in uh, in the situation. And every time I rewatch it, I go along for this ride. And yeah, the fact that this really happened makes it all the more, gives it all the more of a punch. Um, and yeah, you feel this one, you really do. So I encourage a lot of people to find this movie, Dog Day Afternoon. Great drama, great crime film, uh, great heist movie, and yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, so please check it out. And I'm pretty sure HBO Max has this, but I'm always saying, the hard copies are out there. And yeah, this is another great Sidney Lumet movie. I really dig Serpico. Eventually I'm going to talk about Serpico. Um, Pacino was great in that film as well. Only came out about 2 years before this film. But yeah, the '70s, Pacino could do no wrong. Movies like The Godfather, Serpico, this, and Justice for All. He has a lot of great performances from the '70s. So eventually I will get into more of those films, and so many more classic movies are on the list. So please, if you are interested in these kind of old movies, be on the lookout and subscribe. Hit the bell, like, share, and help me get the channel going. We are barely getting started. Who cares if it takes a few years? I got plenty of time. I'm still relatively young, so uh, yeah. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you very much for listening to this review of Dog Day Afternoon, and please be on the lookout for more classic movie reviews. Please take care of each other and yourselves. Till next time, God bless.